Good morning, students. How are you? This is Dr. Annette Feravich. I forgot my little clip in my hair. It was a rough morning so far. Oh, jeez. Let's get started, shall we? We are finishing up. We are on day 7, so make sure that you keep looking. If you aren't sure where we are, you can keep looking at the dates. But the last couple dates for this, because we've been running really long on this, on handling our ups and downs. We've been running kind of long on it, and so I've been putting the days that we're on. So there we go. So there we are. So we're on day 7 for our series. Yesterday, if you remember, we were doing all kinds of things yesterday. We were doing phonics, we were doing math, and we were doing science. Make sure you check out our Wednesday classes, whatever that date is on our Wednesday classes. If you want to check out those, if you want to check out something other than our reading, in our early bird classroom, we're geared towards younger people. And on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I do a lot of reading, but we also do question and answer. So it's like reading comprehension on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Remember that it's really important for you to listen to other people reading and so come to the reading room as well. And that's important for you because what you end up doing is you end up hearing the way things are supposed to sound. And that helps you not only with your reading, but it will help you with your phonics. It will help you sound words out. It will help you with all kinds of things. I just heard on the news that we have all of our scores are going down, down, down in math in particular, but also in reading. This is no surprise. This is no surprise. So get your armor on, because for all of you who are in school, you're going to keep hearing that you're not doing so well. And that is the reason for this classroom. It's the reason for this classroom. It's one way, one easy way to get to learn. That's what it is, to learn what you were supposed to. And even though I gear this towards younger people, because we want to learn how to do things like handling our ups and downs, don't think that older people don't need to know this as well, because they do. All of this. So it's an easy place for you to come and visit in the privacy of your own home, where nobody else knows that you are watching Dr. Feravich or Dr. Annette teach you how to do things that maybe you feel like lots of people know. But I'm here to tell you, because I know lots of people don't know this stuff. Lots of people don't know how to handle their ups and downs. Lots of people don't know a great path to reading, a great way to learn how to read. A lot of people don't know that stuff. So, as I said, let's get started. I also said I need to put a clip in my hair. I say a lot of things. Some of them, one clip I pull out I don't like. There we go. But sometimes I can solve my problem right here and right now. You want to know what else I did? Chip my tooth. I didn't really chip my tooth. My tooth was chipped a long time ago, because apparently I grind my teeth that night. And apparently when you're pregnant, your teeth get really brittle, or your bones get more brittle when you're, probably because we don't drink enough water when we're pregnant. We need to drink more water. We do. I did for sure, because I never drank any water. And then everything gets brittle. So it got fixed. That was 33 years ago, about 33, 34 years ago, because I was pregnant with my first son. And it was fixed for 25 years, close to 30 years. Then I went to the local dentist. And this only lasted 5 years. You dentists are going backwards. You're not going forward. That I'm quite sure of. Why we don't have more answers? You're doing the same doggone things that you guys did in the 1950s. Really, honestly, you don't have more answers than that. Get with the program. Somebody said that the dentists in Germany know a whole lot more. They're light years in front of the dentists in America. I wonder why. Oh, is that capitalism? Woo woo! For all those people who, are in the know. Keep things the way they are. We're making money. And those people are in the upper echelon. Who are they? We know who they are. Okay, so we have talked about, let's see what we've talked about. We've talked about rejection. Rejection, that was the last one. Let's go through these just a little bit more. We are talking about uncomfortable feelings. Still, there's a lot more uncomfortable feelings in here, which is pretty good because a lot of times we know how to handle our ups, don't we? Yeah, of course we do. We know how to handle our ups. We just don't have a really easy time handling our downs, do we? No, we don't. Yep, so I chipped that tooth last night. Now I have to call a new dentist because that dentist I'm quite suspicious of. He's in the old-fashioned days is what he is in, apparently. Although the old-fashioned days, they fixed my tooth for 30 years. So I don't even know what era you're in over there at Village Dentist. Anger, we talked about anger, remember? And what should we do when we are angry? Well, tell someone you are angry. Explain why you are angry and try to do something about what is making you angry. Okay, all right. So that's a little review that we're going to do. The next uncomfortable feeling that makes us feel bad was guilt. Guilt. What did they say about guilt? It is best if you admit that you did something wrong, say that you are sorry, and try, whenever possible, to make up for what you did. That is some really good advice. I learned that as an adult, actually, that you should always say you're sorry when you did something wrong. You should, admit you did something wrong, say you're sorry. What else did it say? Yeah, that was it. Admit you did something wrong, say you're sorry, and try to make up for it. There was one other one that I used to teach because there were 4 things that you had to do, not 3. But those are the 3 major things. Jealousy. Jealousy. What was jealousy? Do you remember what jealousy was? It is best if you tell someone about your jealousy, ask for help or attention, try not to compare yourself with others, think about the fact that you are a special person and unlike anyone else, and think about the fact that you have many things that no one else has. So that was what we learned about, what was it? Guilt? Jealous. Grief. What did we say about grief? Remember? I wish Skippy was still here. It hurt so much to think of not having him around. I already miss him. It is best if you admit that you are sad and tell someone about your grief. Loneliness. We talked about loneliness. And remember, I talked about loneliness and I said that, watch this. Remember what I said? I said that some countries have a loneliness czar, right? And I said I was going to show you how to spell that word if I knew how, if I had the technology. And I do. And I do have the technology. They have czars is what they have. Loneliness czars. I better make sure I spelt that right, just in case. You know, sometimes it's kind of funny because you think that you know what's going on. And then all of a sudden you start thinking about it. Did you ever do that? And yeah, that's the right word. Okay, all of a sudden a TZAR came up. I'm like, I've never seen czar as Tazar. TSAR. Anyway, so that's the word there. Kind of a weird spelling. Do you remember what this AR here is on the end? Do you remember what AR is? Do you remember AR? It's a diphthong, right? It's a diphthong. Do you remember what kind of diphthong it is? It's a murmur diphthong is what it is. It's a murmur diphthong. You know what I need to do here too? I know what else I'm going to do here. All of a sudden, I found something that I can do pretty easily. Let's see, what are we going to put this in? Oh, look what else I did now. I have our email address up there. So now I can put our email address up there and I don't ever have to worry about the ticker there. So if you want any of the information that I've had here for you, even if what you want to know is what are the uncomfortable words that we're learning about, there's my email address, Dr. Feravich, F as in Frank, E-R-A, V as in Victor, I-C-H, at healthymindbodyspirit.net. Look at all that I'm learning. I hope you're learning a lot as well. Remember that this book is a read-along book. We're reading this along together, right? So when we're lonely, it is best for you to admit that you are lonely, find someone to play with, or make friends with someone. All right. So that's the reason why I'm using my finger here as we go along, right? So that you could learn to read along. Also, if you remember, we have got all of the sight words as well. So if you want to know what those sight words are, you know I'm doing something else. Because I just can't help myself. Then you can email me. I didn't like the white color there. I thought it was hard to see. So I switched it on you. I know. What kind of games are you playing today, Dr. Annette? We're always sort of playing games here. It's what makes this classroom a little bit different and a little bit more fun than the other ones. I know. And plus, you can get up when you want. You can watch it when you want. You can eat breakfast with me when we're doing this together, right? So there are all kinds of reasons why you might want to join me here. Oh, there I am with the czar on the live. I don't know why the live is such a long ways away. So keep joining me here because we're going to learn a whole lot and we're going to do it in a whole lot of different ways. And it is a great way for you to boost those scores up. By paying attention and watching what's going on, you can boost your scores up. Okay. All right. So, yeah, and we talked about rejection as well, right? We talked about rejection as well. What should we do? I had to make sure that we read that. I was reading it again. I had to make sure that we read it. What should we do? It is best if you remember that no one that no one person is liked by everyone. Remember that no one person can be good at everything. Think about your good points. Do the things that you do well. Hang around people who like and accept you, and try not to be around people who do not appreciate you. All right, let's keep moving. I think we're on to our new uncomfortable feeling. It's a long word. Remember, we have all of these words in our sight words. So there's a whole bunch of words that you could learn how to spell, right? And learn how to read no matter what age you are. Remember, we say that we do this for all people of all ages, right? Because there's a lot of people who don't know how to read very well, even if they're an adult. There are. And it's humiliating. It's probably humiliating. What's humiliation, Dr. Annette? Humiliation, well, let's ask Joy Wilt what it is. Humiliation is feeling embarrassed or put down. Humiliation is an emotion that makes people feel uncomfortable. So what is it? It's an emotion that makes me feel embarrassed. It's a feeling of being embarrassed or being put down. Let's see. Ha ha! Look at the baby sucking his thumb. Oh, wow. You know, my sisters both sucked their thumb, one of them for a very long time. They did. It's just a habit that people get into. My son did. He didn't suck his thumb. He sucked on his pacifier is what he did. He didn't suck on his thumb. I tried to keep him away from that because that's a hard habit to break. And it can be also humiliating. It can be very humiliating if you're an adult. But sometimes humiliation makes a person do what needs to be done. Maybe it's time to stop sucking my thumb and carrying my blanket around so that he doesn't want to feel like a baby anymore, or she, whichever one it is. They don't want to feel like a baby anymore, and so they decided to do that by themselves. It was worse being humiliated for this person than it was giving up his thumb sucking and blanket and holding his blanket. It was worse because it's an uncomfortable feeling. It was worse for him to be humiliated than it was for him to give up his thumb sucking or his blanket. Okay? That's why he was able to give it up, because it was better to do that than this, right? Yeah. Putting down, getting back at, or hurting the people who have humiliated you is not a good way to handle humiliation. You're so fat you can't even walk through doorways. That's better than being a skinny mini like you. They both look the same size to me. Ignoring the put downs and walking away are the best ways to handle being humiliated. I think it's a good way to handle anger as well, to walk away and cool down. Lots of times we want to tell people what's going on, and there's no reason why we shouldn't tell people what's going on, right? Or why we're angry, right? We should tell people why we're angry. But sometimes when we tell them why we're angry, when we're angry, it doesn't always come out so nice, right? Sometimes we sound kind of mean. Like these people here, like when we're humiliated, right? Humiliated. There's the word. Besides, you're a little twerp. And he doesn't even get it all the way out. Why? Because she's walking away. Because she's not listening to him, right? Let's go and look at our questions. I'm going to switch over to the other day to get our questions here. I think I have them up here. I'm going to go backwards, though. There we go. So what does it mean to feel humiliated? Have you ever felt humiliated? When was the last time you were humiliated? What did you do and how did you handle your humiliation? Okay, all right. Now let's just check out what else we have to do. So we've said this already. So remember, when you haven't been embarrassed or put down in front of other people, it is normal for you to feel humiliation. But when you are humiliated, try not to put down anyone else. Get back at people who humiliated you or hurt people who have humiliated you. And sometimes putting people down, that is also hurting people, isn't it? If I go and call you a name because you humiliated me, right? If I go and call you a name, that's putting somebody down, right? That's putting somebody down. Whoops. It is best for you to ignore the put downs and walk away. That's what's best. Also, when you have been humiliated, it is understandable for you to not want to see or be around the people who were there when you were humiliated. If they saw that, right? If they were around, it would be normal for us to not want to be around those people who saw that. That's normal to not want to be around those people who saw you do whatever you did, right? It is also understandable for you to not want to remember or think about humiliating moments. We try to push those out of our minds is what we try to do, right? Yeah, that is a normal thing to try and push that out of our minds. Sometimes we have to think about it, right? Because just like we said with all uncomfortable feelings, what did we say about it? We said all these uncomfortable feelings sometimes makes a person do what needs to be done. That must be why we feel those things sometimes, right? Because we might need to feel it so that we do what needs to be done, right? Giving up his blanket and stopping sucking his thumb. He needed to do what needed to be done. What's our next uncomfortable word? We're moving through these now, not so uncomfortable anymore, right? Frustration. Because we're learning how to handle them. So now they're maybe not so uncomfortable. Frustration is feeling uptight and discouraged. Frustration is an emotion that makes people feel uncomfortable. See how frustrated she's getting trying to tie her shoe? And then it gets even more frustrating if your shoelace breaks, doesn't it? Yeah, sometimes it seems like when we get frustrated, one thing happens that frustrates us, and then sometimes it seems like another one and another one and another one, all right in a row. That really gets us mad, doesn't it? Yeah. But sometimes frustration makes a person do what needs to be done. Would someone please show me how to tie my shoes? You have to learn, right? You can't just guess at how to tie your shoes. It doesn't work that way, does it? To try and guess how to tie your shoes? Nobody could just figure that out by themselves. They have to learn. Of course, who was the first person to tie their shoes? I don't know. I'm thinking Jesus, God himself? I don't even know. Breaking or not taking care of things is not a good way to handle your frustration. And see here, right here, breaking or not taking care of things is not a good way to handle your frustration. And you know what we know? We know that big people break things and punch holes in the walls and throw things and take sticks and hit people with them or hurt animals. We know people do that when they get frustrated, but we can't do that. Even adults do that when they get frustrated, and they didn't learn what they were supposed to learn. There are many adults who didn't learn what they were supposed to learn. Just like I said, sometimes I have to teach adults how to read, right? Why? Because they didn't learn what they were supposed to learn. Sometimes adults didn't learn that it's not a good idea to break things or not take care of things when you're frustrated. Some adults didn't learn that. This crazy toy never works. I hate it. Smash. Have you ever done that? Have you ever just broken something? And then what can you do then after you get frustrated and you break it? What can you do then? Slowing down, trying again at another time, or getting someone else to help is a good way to handle frustration. This toy frustrates me, Dad. Can you help me with it? That is some really good advice. That is some really good advice for big people, middle-sized people, and little people. That is some really good advice. Slow down when you're frustrated. Take a deep breath when you're frustrated. I was frustrated when I bit this tooth off. I was frustrated right there. Look at that. Now I look like Snaggletooth. Seriously? But what could I do about it? It was last night I did it. What am I supposed to do about it? I don't know. Most I could do, I had to be here this morning, is call the dentist later on and see if I can get it fixed. What can you do about it? Slow down. I couldn't slow down, right? Because there was nothing I could do about that. It wasn't because I was chewing too fast, right? Wasn't like that. What was that? Oh, there it is forever on YouTube. So that's some great advice. Slow down. Try at another time. I think that is really good advice. Sometimes we don't know, but there are a lot of things that build up, and then that's why we get frustrated. Remember, I just asked you a little while ago if sometimes things happen to you, like you break your shoelace and then you trip and fall and then you forgot your homework. Like it seems like it happens almost in threes. 3 frustrating things before you blow your top. I wouldn't have blown my top if it was just 1 or 2, but it was 3, and then I blew my top, right? Does that happen sometimes? Happens again and again? That's the reason why it might be a good idea to try it another time. Just seems like sometimes I don't know what happens. I'm in a really bad mood. A whole bunch of bad things just happened to me, and now the person in front of me isn't very nice either. I don't know why, but sometimes it's just better to take it and put it away and try another time. Or getting someone else to help. That's all very good advice. Let's take a look at our questions. What does it mean to feel frustrated? Have you ever felt frustrated? List some things that frustrate you. That is a really good idea as well, to list things that frustrate you. And then you know what happens a lot of times after you have a list of things that frustrates you? Then when that happens again, a lot of times, because it's on the list, it doesn't frustrate you anymore. So let's say that it frustrates you when you run out of milk when you have cereal and you want to have breakfast, right? Oh, and that's what I was going to say. Do you have breakfast? Did you have your breakfast? And did you brush your teeth? That's another wonderful thing about this classroom is that you can eat your breakfast with me and brush your teeth and still listen to all of the same things that still listen to everything that you've been listening to and still learn like you were learning. So let's say that you ran out of milk and you didn't have your milk for your cereal. The next time that happens, if you write it on the list, so you write it on the list, run out of milk. What frustrates you? When we run out of milk. Maybe the next time you run out of milk and you don't have it for your cereal, you're going to go, ha ha ha, that's on my list of frustrating things. I guess I'm not so frustrated anymore. Sometimes that happens. So making a list of things that frustrate you a lot, right? That happen a lot, or that you know every time it happens you get frustrated. That might actually help you to think not to be so frustrated when that happens again. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. When was the last time you were frustrated? And what did you do? How did you handle your frustration? Okay. Remember, being frustrated at times is normal. That's normal for people. Everybody gets frustrated. But when you are frustrated, try not to break things or mistreat things. Mistreat, that is a word that has a root word treat and a prefix miss. Mistreat. That's how it's an easy word to spell. If you could spell treat, T-R-E-A-T, two vowels go walking. The first one does the talking. So it's an E-A, right? E-A. And then you put the miss in front of it. You know how to spell mistreat. It is best if you slow down, try again at another time, and get someone to help you. So, for my tooth, I'm going to have to try again at another time. I just can't be frustrated until I get it fixed, right? I'm going to have to try again at another time and just keep moving. Also, it is okay to cry when you get frustrated. It's okay to cry. Scream or yell. I don't like screaming. I don't think it's okay for people to scream. I think screaming is saved for danger when it's danger time. I think that's when you scream. Try not to scream when you're frustrated. Try to do something else. Sometimes you can yell, jump up and down, or hit or kick things that cannot be damaged. I don't think that's a good habit either. Sorry, Joy. I don't agree with that habit. And I don't agree with that habit because sometimes when we're frustrated, we cannot think about whether or not that can be damaged. If I kick something or hit something, it likely can be damaged. I don't know anything that can't be damaged, by hitting or kicking it. Eventually a pillow could be damaged as well, right? Like pillows, punching bags, or beds. As long as you do not bother anyone else while you are doing it, this might mean that you need to go outside or into another room and close the door while you are frustrated. That's a good idea. Go inside, go to your room and close the door while you're frustrated. And there you can cry and there you can yell as well. But if you scream, I have a feeling that somebody's going to come running and think that there's something really wrong. I'm just saying, I don't think screaming is a good idea. That's just my opinion. It's not Joy Wilt's opinion. It's my opinion, though. Anxiety is feeling worried, nervous, and upset. A lot of people have anxiety. That's feeling worried, nervous, and upset. Anxiety is an emotion that makes people feel uncomfortable. So here she's at the nurse's station and she has to check in, right? So she's probably feeling worried, nervous, and upset. And maybe she's feeling that t-shirt is a little tight on her arms. What? But sometimes we know what's coming next. Anxiety makes a person do what needs to be done. Before you do anything, you can tell me exactly what you are going to do and will it hurt? Can you tell me exactly what you are going to do and will it hurt? So that helps people feel better. I don't know why her arms are all wrinkled. Pretending that you are not worried or hiding the fact that you are anxious is not a good way to handle your anxiety. Admitting that you are nervous and talking about whatever is worrying you are good things to do when you are anxious. Who, me? Nervous? Shucks, no. I never get nervous about anything. That's what she looks like, doesn't she? Yes, I am nervous. Do you know what they are going to do to me? Can you tell me exactly what is going to happen? Of course I can. And did you know that nurses and doctors are now trained to tell you as much as they know about what they're going to do because people get so nervous and anxious when they go into the doctors? So that's what they're supposed to do, because some people, they don't even think to ask what's going on, right? And sometimes they even have training for people before they go in to see the doctor for the surgery. Sometimes they train the people so that people aren't so nervous anymore when they go in. If you get training, remember I told you that my son, he got training when his little brother came around. He was trained on how to be a big brother. And that helped him not be so worried. That helped him not be so anxious. But it also helped him not be so jealous of his brother as well. So asking questions, right, and finding out what's going on are good ways to help you when you're frustrated or when you're anxious or when you're jealous or when you're feeling uncomfortable, probably in almost anything for any reason. Remember, when you are unsure of what is going to happen to you, it is normal for you to feel anxious. But when you do feel anxious, try not to pretend that you are not anxious or hide your true feelings. Now, we can't always tell everybody how we really feel. Probably not very good idea, probably not a good idea, and probably we don't feel comfortable telling everybody how we feel. I do. I feel comfortable apparently telling everybody how I feel about my tooth, and I'm still uncomfortable about it. But maybe you don't feel uncomfortable. Maybe you don't feel comfortable telling everybody, or, most people about when you feel anxious. So find somebody that you can trust. When you tell somebody these feelings that you have, find somebody that you can trust to not, like, for example, make fun of you or make you feel more anxious or worried. Okay? It is best if you admit that you are anxious and find out and talk about whatever is worrying you. And see, it says find out and talk about. Sometimes we don't even know. Sometimes we're not sure what's worrying us, right? Maybe our parents have been arguing lately, and that's worrying us. But they're not arguing right now, and I'm running around feeling worried. Sometimes we have to find out what is worrying us. Sometimes we're not even sure what it is, because we go through our day, we go to school, and the thing that was worrying us happened a long time ago. So we forgot about it, and we go through our day and we live our lives, but we don't know that something happened a long time ago, maybe, or even last week, is worrying us right now. So sometimes we do have to take the time to find out what is worrying us. And especially big people, especially big people have to take the time to find out what is worrying them, because they really have a lot going on in their lives a lot of times. And so they may not know. They may be doing so many things, like maybe you are. Or maybe you're playing video games a lot so that you don't think about what's worrying you. A lot of times we have to find out what's worrying us. I think that's just great advice. I really, really do. Good job, Joy Wilt. Also, it is understandable for you to worry about things that you do not know about, or worry that something is going to happen to you that may hurt. Yeah. A lot of times we worry about things that we think might hurt us. And maybe like this little girl was worried about what the doctor or nurse might do to hurt her. But sometimes it's not just something physical, like a shot, that we're worried about. Sometimes we're worried about things that might hurt us that aren't physical, but that hurt our hearts, right? Like, for example, we might worry about somebody finding out that we suck our thumb, right? We might worry about the fact that somebody's going to find that out and will be humiliated. We can worry about things that might hurt our hearts, not just hurt our bodies. We don't go around worrying about, I hope I don't trip and fall today. But we do worry about whether or not our parents might get angry at us. Or we do worry about if our best friend is mad at us. Or we do worry about if we did our homework correctly for the teacher. Those are things that can not hurt our body, but they can hurt our hearts, right? So we worry about those things too. What's this? Great pictures, Joy Wilt. And these pictures illustrations are by Hergy. Great illustrations. I love these. I especially love them when they're in color. Fear is feeling frightened or scared. Fear is an emotion that makes people feel uncomfortable. But sometimes fear makes a person do what needs to be done. Help! Help! Call for help, maybe, right? Acting as though you are not frightened of anything because you want people to think that you are big and brave is not a good way to handle your fear. You're all a bunch of chickens. I'm not afraid of anything. Maybe sometimes, just like it said, fear is a good idea, right? Sometimes we should be afraid of things. What does it say? It's important to pay attention to your fears because they may be warning you that you are in danger. We're afraid of things we're supposed to stay away from. So it might be a good idea sometimes to be afraid, isn't it? That makes such sense, doesn't it? Admitting that you are afraid and being cautious are the best ways to handle your fears. Other things to do are tell someone else about your fears and ask questions and find out about them. Sometimes you will find that you do not need to be afraid of the thing that is scaring you, right? Like being afraid of the dark. If you're going into your bedroom and your bedroom is always the same, but it's dark this time, maybe there's nothing to be afraid of in the dark, right? Okay. Let's see what we have here for fear. What does it... Oh, we already did. Did we not read those for anxious? Maybe not. What does it mean to feel anxious? Have you ever felt anxious? List the times you were anxious. When was the last time you were anxious? What did you do? And how did you handle your anxiety? Anxiety and fear can be similar in the ways that we handle them by telling other people about it or asking questions. What does it mean to feel afraid? Have you ever felt afraid? List the things that scare you the most. When was the last time you were afraid? What did you do? And how did you handle your fear? Okay, we are way past our time, and I did not realize I was this far past our time, which is fine because we started late. But we ended up long. We're going to have to start here where we left off. Let me put in a bookmark because we got to our questions here, but we didn't get to our remember for being afraid. This is Dr. Annette, and we're here in the Early Bird Classroom. And not only are we in the Early Bird Classroom, but guess what I have now? My email address down there all the time. So Dr. Feravich, F as in Frank, ERA, V as in Victor, ICH, at healthymindbodyspirit.net. If you have any questions, if you're worried about anything we've talked about, if you're afraid about something, or if you just need some of those worksheets and those sight words, don't forget that we have 2 new worksheets for our sight words. Where do we have those? We did capitals yesterday. We talked about capitals, but we gave you 2 new sight word sheets here. 2 new ones. One that has contractions on them, and the other one that has abbreviations on them. So don't forget about your sight words. Thanks for joining me. This is Dr. Annette. I will see you back here again on Tuesday. And we're still working on handling our ups and downs. I will see you soon. Thanks.